My name is Connor. Up until today, my life was completely normal. Well, as normal as you can get. I'm your average 25-year-old male who graduated from the University of Washington a little over 2 years ago. I was born January 23rd in a small town in Maine called Belmont. Fewer than 1,000 residents, but I loved the place. The only reason I came to Seattle was because of all the great job opportunities after college. But like all my other plans, things didn't go the way I had hoped. I'm currently working at the Bank of the Pacific in Seattle. It's your normal bank holding company, and it's fairly boring, but it pays well and I appear to be good at it. But it's not what I wanted to do. I graduated with a bachelor's degree in computer science. I wanted to become a programmer. Maybe make it famous as the man who created the next big thing like John Carmack. But in the end, I landed a job at a bank. Not really the most entertaining life story, but I guess I'm not the most entertaining person in the world either. Today was Friday, and for the first time in a long time, I actually had after-work plans. My friends and I were planning on going to see a movie later tonight and head out for drinks afterwards. To a lot of people, this might not seem like the greatest night ever, but I've gone 3 months without having a night out with friends, and I needed one. Badly. But out of all the stuff I had been doing tonight, there was one thing I was looking forward to even more. There's this girl I like, Rianne. She will be tagging along with the rest of us, and who knows, maybe if I make a good impression on her, next time it might just be the two of us. It had been a while since I had even thought about love. I remember having a girlfriend in high school, and we dated for around 3 months before she told me that it just wasn't working out. I hadn't had a girlfriend since. Not because there wasn't anyone I liked, but just because of how I took the breakup. She had it a lot easier than me. I won't go into details, it just brings up bad memories. It's been years since then, so I think it's about time I give dating another shot. As I started walking out of the bank, I noticed police cars in the area. Lots of them. There were people gathered all around to see exactly what was going on, but the police didn't appear to be giving any information out at the time. It was probably some kind of car wreck or a fight that broke out. Either way, I had to get home and get ready. I own a blue 2004 Audi, and I'm one of those people who get overly attached to their cars. It might not be the newest or the most expensive car out there, but this car has been with me for years now. I get in the car and pull out of the parking lot and head home. I had arrived at my rundown apartment complex at around 3:30. The place wasn't in the best of shape, but it didn't cost much. I had just graduated when I first started living here, and at the time, it was all I could afford. A few years have passed since then, and this place makes me happy. And it has some other benefits as well. My apartment is at the end of the second floor hall, room 208. I put my key in the lock, only to find that it was already unlocked. It's this really terrible habit I have, leaving the apartment unlocked from time to time. The dorms I used to live in at college had automatic locks, so I never needed to get used to locking it manually. My apartment itself was nearly as bad as the exterior. I'm kind of a slob. I have clothes lying everywhere, garbage next to the trash can, not in it, but literally sitting next to it. My bed isn't made, dishes piling up. I was the living embodiment of a bachelor's life. The only thing I actually cared for was my home entertainment system. It had a Samsung 60-inch plasma screen TV, a PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, surround sound speakers all over the living room, and my giant stack of DVDs and video games. Hell, it cost me a fortune, but like I said, owning a dirt cheap apartment has its benefits. I started getting myself ready. I thought it'd probably be best if I wore clean clothes tonight, because from all the magazines I've read, girls don't appear to be attracted to guys who wear the same pair of pants for an entire week. I decided to throw some clothes in the washer and dryer, and I took a shower in the meantime. About 30 minutes before I was supposed to leave, I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth. enjoying the thought that soon I'd be at the movies with everyone else. I was staring into the mirror, brushing each tooth individually, counting each stroke, kind of like that one movie. As I continued brushing my teeth, I got this sudden chill. Have you ever gotten the feeling that you weren't alone? Like someone was right behind you without you knowing. Like anyone would do, I took a look around just to make sure that I wasn't being watched, even though I knew there was no way anyone could. It's like getting soap in your eye while taking a shower. You close your eyes for a few seconds, but then you get this feeling that someone is on the other side of the curtain. As I looked back into the mirror, I caught the slightest glimpse of a shadow outside of my window in the living room. Well, at least I thought I did. I knew it wasn't possible. This was a second-floor apartment. Getting up here would be very difficult. I pushed the paranoia aside and finished my hygiene. I had some time to kill, so I sat down on my pigsty of a couch and turned on my television. Up pops a news report about the serial killer that has been on the loose, and how there has been another murder right outside my office. This was the third victim in the past 2 weeks. Reports say that each victim's families had been showing signs of insecurity, like they were being followed by someone. A chill ran down my spine. That's what the cops must have been doing when I walked out of the building. Just the thought that a serial killer was anywhere near me gave me the chills. To get him off my mind, I started channel surfing. Nothing really good was on. I flipped through a couple channels, saw an old movie that I hadn't seen in years, but I had to get going. Before I walked out of the door, I took one last look at myself in the mirror, starting to pose like any guy would do. Ha, yep, irresistible. What girl wouldn't want all of this? All of a sudden, I heard something, kind of like the creaking sound you get when you walk on wood. But it originated from my closet. The building was old. Someone could walk on the floor from at least 20 yards away, and you would hear it from where you're standing. But still, I walked over to my closet just to make sure nothing was there. And I opened it. Just like I thought, nothing. Closing the closet, I headed out at the front door, remembering to lock it this time, and headed down the stairs. There was a group of teenagers hanging outside near the entrance to the complex, and my neighbor's dog was barking like crazy. It does that whenever it sees people it doesn't recognize. It gets annoying at times because despite the few people that live in the building, we get a lot of visitors. Sometimes the dog will wake me up at night when a group of joggers jog past. Either way, I drive to the entrance and the teenagers make way for me to pass. On the drive to the cinema, some asshole behind me was honking at me. I was going the speed limit. I didn't know what his problem was. When I checked the mirror to see who the guy was, for a second, I could have sworn I saw a face in the mirror. Not my face, but someone else. It was the briefest glimpse of one, but as soon as I tried to focus on it, the face disappeared. I rubbed my eyes a little, blaming it on being tired. Being at work so early probably wasn't the best idea, especially if it's starting to make me hallucinate. I was about to consider going home to take a nap or something, but I had already arrived at the cinema and standing outside were my friends waiting for me. Rianne was there as well. Once I saw her beautiful black hair and her smile, I knew I couldn't waste a night like tonight. I found a parking spot and met up with everyone. Apparently, the movie had been delayed about an hour due to some problems with the projector, so we all went to the local bar, which was like a block away. We all ordered a round of our favorite beers and, like the young people we were, started chugging them immediately. I had been hesitant to do so at first. I didn't know if Rianne would find chugging beers appealing. But to my surprise, she was already on her second beer. If the bartender hadn't enforced the 2 drinks per customer rule, we would all be drunken idiots by now. Before we left, I looked behind the bartender at the mounds of ale and liquor on the walls. That's when I noticed a mirror behind all the drinks. I could scarcely make out a man standing right behind me. I couldn't see his face clearly. When I turned around, there was no one there. This time I got to blame it on the alcohol, but just to make sure, I asked the bartender if he saw someone standing near me a second ago. He replied that he hadn't. As we arrived at the cinema, my friend Jeff handed us our tickets. Up until this point, I had no idea what kind of movie we were going to see. After the ticket taker handed me back my movie ticket, I looked down to check. Oh, man. Rianne walked up to me, noticing my expression. Scared? She says as she smiles and walks towards the theater. I knew I couldn't pass off this eerie feeling because now I'm more paranoid than ever. The theater was having a horror feature night, and my friends thought it would be a good idea to go see a horror movie called Mirrors. It was about a serial killer who used mirrors to, teleport through them or something and kill his victims with ease. Now, I know that movies like that can't possibly happen in real life, but you can't blame me for not wanting to look at another mirror for a while. Especially with the hallucinations I've been having today. More importantly, though, there was one good thing that happened that night. Rianne had such a good time with me that we scheduled another date to go out for dinner next week, and this time, it'd be just the two of us. We had it all planned out. We'd meet each other next Friday night and go to an Italian restaurant, maybe catch a movie if it hadn't gotten too late, and after that, maybe we'd actually start dating regularly. On my way home, I noticed how foggy it had gotten. Usually, I wouldn't think about it too much, but it was the middle of summer, and here in Seattle, we don't get too much fog due to the city lights and everything. It was actually starting to creep me out. I've never been the biggest fan of fog. Tons of accidents happen due to the idiot drivers who forget to turn on their lights and end up colliding with other cars. But driving alone in the fog after watching a horror movie can make you paranoid beyond all belief. I may not seem like it, but I'm quite an avid horror fan. And everything I'm doing at this very moment is screaming, "Red flag." But there was no one I could really drive home with, and if I asked Rianne to come with me, that might give her the wrong idea and ruin all my chances I have with her. The drive home was really quiet. It hadn't been that late at night. There are people usually driving the streets until at least midnight. With all this freaky stuff that had happened today, I might actually be in a horror movie myself. Then, upon instinct, I checked my rearview mirror. Did you ever watch the television series Twilight Zone? I distinctly remember an episode about a girl who decided to take a trip across the states, and there would always be a man popping up everywhere, just out of the blue. There, sitting in the back of my car, was a man. At least I think it was a man. He was covered in a wash of darkness, but the figure looked that of a male. For 10 seconds, I just stared. I couldn't speak, move, or even breathe. I looked into the mirror and watched as the man sat there silently. Quickly, I turned around, only to find nothing but empty fast food bags and other trash. This was getting out of hand. I couldn't handle what was going on. My mind couldn't comprehend what was happening. It wasn't my brain's fault. I can't blame it on being too tired anymore, because at the moment, I was wide awake. And all I could think about was getting home as soon as possible. Pressing the gas, I sped up, and in a matter of minutes, I was home. I checked my rearview mirror this time, and about 30 feet away, I saw a distinct figure walking slowly to my car. I got out of the car as fast as I could and ran up the stairs to my floor. Looking over my shoulder, this time, I knew I wasn't hallucinating. I saw him by my car, walking towards the stairs. This person was following me. I started slamming on all of my neighbors' doors, begging for help, but no one answered. I looked over my shoulder. The man was walking up the stairs. I bolted to my door and ran inside my apartment, slamming the door shut behind me. In a panic, I got inside my closet and just waited. It felt like an eternity. I waited in that closet, hoping for some sign that it would be okay. I heard the neighbor's dog barking outside my apartment, and that could only mean it sees the man as well, so I know I'm not going crazy. He is, in fact, real. What was going to happen to me? Was he going to kill me? Suddenly, the barking stops, and everything around me goes cold. I hear the footsteps on the other side of the wall. It was him. I kept praying to myself, hoping that everything would be all right. The footsteps stopped right outside my front door. And I realized something. Had I managed to lock my door?